woke up at dawn with the pelicans in flight. Coffee brewing strong by dawn's early light. Waves whisper secrets to my open heart. The life around this water gets me off to a great start. Parrots wild, squawking loud in the old palm tree. Dolphin smiles, brighter than the Texas sun on me. We chase simple dreams, nothing fancy or grand, just honest days in this promised land. God gives rainbow horizons to those in this happy lane. Diamonds dancing on the waves, back sparkling again. Honest living, a pursuit of peace, family ties and the happiness we seek. Love, forgotten country running deep in our veins. Through the storms and the trials we break those chains. Good living brings the blessings we see. Rainbow horizons calling to me. Living each moment, giving truth from the heart. No deceptions woven, no false starts. Goes like a front porch, swaying in the ocean breeze. Watching the sunset fade away with pink and blue ease. Teach the young ones right from wrong with care. Hold them close when the world's unfair. In this Gulf Coast life, we find our way, building memories that never stray. Oh, rainbow horizons after the rain. Diamonds dancing on the waves back again. Honest living in pursuit of peace. Family ties and the happiness we see. Love, forgotten country running deep in our veins. Through the storms and the trials we break those chains. Good living brings the blessings we see. Rainbow horizons calling to me. When the night falls quiet and stars shine bright, I thank the Lord for this humble light. For the flag that waves and the grace from above, filling our hearts with endless love. No riches compared to the peace we found in the tides we ride, and the love all around. No rainbow horizons after the rain. Diamonds dancing on the waves back again. Honest living in pursuit of peace. Family ties and the happiness we seek. Love, forgotten country running deep in our veins. Through the storms and the trials we break those chains. Good living brings the blessings we see. Rainbow horizons forever free. Yeah. Your rainbow horizons calling to me.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you guys are all doing well. I am not quite sure why our music is
Woke
playing
up
again.
at dawn with the pelicans.
It's a nice song,
in
though,
flight.
right?
Coffee brew.
Should not be repeating. That is very strange that it did that. But I'm not going to worry about that now. I'll worry about that tomorrow in the fashion of Miss Scarlett O'Hara. Okay, how's everybody doing? Zelda, welcome, my friend. Kathy R., I'm glad you're here. Skating Nona, how are you doing? Team Doosey Doo. You have a fun name to pronounce. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. And like the title says, it's just, to say hello, because I haven't been here in a month of Sundays, right? So they released Celeste autopsy result. Yeah, Kathy, it's so horrible. It's so horrible. Yeah. So to update, the babies are doing great. I think that we're like at a month. Have they been born for about a month? Maybe a little. Actually, I think it's probably 5 weeks or so. And everything's going well. They're putting on weight properly and they're doing everything. So thank you guys. Y'all are awesome for thinking about them. And thank you for all your prayers. And they're doing really, really good right now. Look where Jod is right now, the Caribbean. Well, you know what? I wish that it was the Caribbean. It's Caribbean dreams, right? That's what we could call it, Caribbean dreams. But yeah, I would like to be in the little pink house right over here. That would be the one I would like. Okay. So I wanted to talk about a few things. What did you guys think of my background? How pretty is that? I found that and I was like, this is beautiful. I wish I had sorry about that. I wish I had an LED wall in my house. I would just have this playing 24/7 on my LED wall. So I love it though. I think it's pretty and it is reflectant of the jewels and it's just so fancy and this is me. So I love it all the way around. I think it's very cool. Okay. Well, so what are we going to talk about? What do you guys want to talk about? Because I've got like 10 million things that I could talk about. Part of the reason that, I have 10 million things I could talk about, I've been working a lot. And you guys know that I also was really sick, and you're going to still hear some of that going on. And I am also coughing a little bit, but I just took some medicine, so I shouldn't be coughing today during this stream. But I have been keeping up with the news. I've been keeping up with the true crime news. I have been keeping up with the Karama drama. Megan. We could talk about Megan, although not my favorite topic because there's something about that little chickadee that gets under my skin, if you know what I mean. If she gets under your skin, put a 1. If you find her to be delightful, put a 2. Okay. I forgot those hidden gems. We are fancy jewels over here. We are fancy jewels. We are the original jewels of YouTubia. That is absolutely a certainty. And frankly, Lauren, you stole my idea. I could totally explain all the way through how me and Zelda, Sketty Nona, all of us, how we came up with the whole jewels of thought, the gems, even my my membership tiers reflect the gems. You told a lie, Missy. You said that it was because of Idaho gems. Oh, really? You named your membership after potatoes? Lauren Matthias. Shame on you, girl. You stole, and then you told lies about stealing, and then you just walk away just looking foolish. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we are sitting back happy, sassy, and fancy. So there you go. You guys are the original gems. All right. So actually put a 3 if you think she is frightful. The girl is a trip. Truly. Me, again, is a trip. And she bought, let me tell y'all something. I've shied away from saying this up to now because I thought it was too soon. You know what I mean? But do you know sometimes when I'm watching her, I'm talking about Megan Connor, when I'm watching her, I can see Lori Vallow. How many of you guys can see Lori in Megan's face? Their eyes are so similar, like through the forehead, so similar. And frankly, it weirds me out to the point that I just can't even watch it. Because what part of psychopathic is hereditary, genetic in nature? I'm not even gonna venture an intellectual guess on it. But with all this being the same, and you know how they talk about the eyes being the window to the soul, I just don't even want to think about Kathy R. See, I told y'all, you got to watch this chick. I'm telling you, the DNA is strong. It is strong. And guess what? Now that she's been called out, now she's telling everybody, no, 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 no. I'm not a life coach. What? You're not a life coach, but on your videos, you actually say to people they can call you for a free coaching consult, suggesting that there are paid consults as opposed to a free one. I mean, you know, if you are a licensed psychologist like Gary Brocado, like a real licensed psychologist, not Dr. Matthias, but a real one, okay? You're probably charging, I don't know, $300 an hour, maybe $500 an hour, depending, you know. Yes, we do offer free consultations for introduction and to discuss, get an idea what's going on, and kind of have an exchange of ideas about how long, type of possible treatment, things like that. What exactly, like, what kind of coach are you, Megan? You're now claiming you're not a life coach, and that is because Jolene Lunzer and Everyday with Jay, they have proven that you are no such thing. So are you a softball coach? Oh, like, what exactly are you coaching to be charging for? Because if you're making money, then you're a professional coach. So what is your skill? What is the talent that you're offering to the public? And is this the exact reason why professions have licensing boards? Do different professions have licensing boards to protect members of the public so that a charlatan, a scammer, cannot set you up to steal your money? You know what I mean? Exactly why do you need the services of a rando coach and she's going to charge $100 an hour? Why would you do that when you can make an appointment with a professional psychologist? Your health insurance is going to pay for it, and maybe you have to pay $10 or $35, whatever your copay would be, right? And you're actually talking to someone who spent years of training, years of supervision, who literally knows what they're talking about. Like, why? I don't understand. Why do you need to pay somebody $100 who is just like you? They're just don't know anything and they're struggling and suffering. Why? So I think we have to be very, very careful that I have grown a little disturbed about how quickly people find creators on YouTube or TikTok and they somehow misinterpret this person as famous or this person is somehow special in some way, and therefore I'm going to give them my money. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So Brittany J, if we stay in the Krama world, Brittany J had more than $5,000 of items on her baby registry. Her baby registry included a robe for her non-husband baby daddy, Craig. I'm sorry, Brittany, but at this point, it feels like exploitation. At this point, it seems like fraud, actually. I don't understand how you're doing this, like with a clean conscience. I don't know how you can feel, I don't know how you are able to play these games with the people that clearly like you. They clearly have some kind of enmeshment with you, because no matter how badly you abuse them, they continue giving you money. And, you know, I wish that you'd be a little more ethical about what you're doing. We just, in my family, we just had twins, and we didn't come even close to $5,000. I would be embarrassed to make that kind of request to people. That is terrifying, Brittany. You're turning out to be a scary person to me. So, it's crazy how much money's thrown around. Ostrich, it is mind-boggling. This girl I'm talking about, this Brittany J, she got her mods and her subscribers, they paid her $8,000. Listen to this. This is the total truth, Ostrich. $8,000 so that she could sue other people, other creators that she didn't like what they were saying about her. Never mind that what they were saying was true. She just was just like Lauren Matthias. She wanted to silence them, right? That was the goal, is to silence them. And because she gets on her stream and she cries and she says that people are being mean to her and people are bullying her, that she's got this group of women that have sort of taken her under their wing. They're kind of acting in the role of mom or grandma, and they're given all this money. And they literally gave her $8,000 to hire an attorney named, is it Rancher or, yeah, I think it was Rancher. And his claim to fame, he approaches YouTube and tries to force YouTube to take down channels that people don't like. $8,000. Every single year, her subscribers buy her children's Christmas presents. That's right. Christmas shopping for old Craig, not the husband, and old Brittany is making a list on Amazon and putting a link up in their channel and telling all of these people to go and buy their children's Christmas presents. It defies explanation to me, and it kind of makes me feel bad for those people. It makes me feel really sad. One thing that we know from research is that when we pay for something, we seem to value it more. Now, should we? No, I don't think so. I think if you buy a diamond ring for a dime, you have a piece of glass, right? But because of the way the brain works, if we pay money, even for junk, we value it more. And that's about the only thing that I can figure out that might be happening with Brittany and Craig, because Craig is offensive. Hey, Gooch, good to see you. Our babies are doing so good, Gooch. They're so cute. And when mom and dad give me the approval, I will show some photographs. But let me tell you something. They're so cute. So cute. So, but the most important thing is that they are healthy and they're growing and they're just sweet. And my little granddaughter adores them. She's being a great big sister. And so all is well. So it's good. Steph sells stuff by the seashore. Welcome. How are you, Steph? So the only thing that I can figure out that might be going on with that channel, because Craig is horrible, obnoxious, doesn't even begin to describe his banter. And I can see the attraction with Brittany. I think she does come across, she's sweet, like she has that persona to be sweet and nice, but her actions reveal the reality. And I just think that people have made an investment and they've given so much to help, that now they feel like they're kind of in it. Like she's sort of like an adopted family member. And now, they can't abandon her just because she's got problems. But I do wonder, whatever becomes of this baby that she should be having like any day, that may tell the different, that there may be a reaction in the channel at that point, but we can see. Have you noticed that I refuse to call that man Dr. John or Dr. Babe or asshole? I refuse. It's just embarrassing. Here's why it's embarrassing. Okay. All right. When you work on a PhD, which is not an academic, but it is a practitioner model where you're going to be providing direct services to the public. You have to be licensed, right? Your PhD, they give you a minimum of about 6 years and a maximum of about 9 or 10 years. And you think, good God, a decade working on a degree? Yes. During that time period, though, you're either in class learning or you're practicing in a practicum type setting. You may be working for a licensed psychologist and you get paid minimum wage and they pocket all your money. That's called paying your dues. And then you have to do, if it's a PhD, then you have to conceive of your own research project that will make a unique contribution to the field of information. You have to develop your research project. You have to implement your research project, collect the data, and then analyze the data, and then publish it in the form of a book. So there's your 7 to 10 years of work. Okay. And when you finish, then you have to defend your work. You have to go in front of the committee and all of the people in the college. And they get to ask you questions and try to make you look stupid. So it's a hard won degree. And, so people that go through that process, they're very proud of what they've done. Like they recognize the investment and the hard work and the heartache and all the money, everything that it took to get those 3 little letters. And so there's dignity associated with it, right? And, I know, look, sometimes people call me Doc. I prefer to just be either my name or doctor last name and leave it at that. That's my preference. But some of the medical students, PhD students, sometimes if they've been there a long time, they'll start calling me Doc. But we don't do this weird Dr. John. It's infantilizing, right? It's sort of childlike. It's like saying Miss Betty. I don't know. It just seems too casual when that title means something. Now, if you're a physician, you're doctor so-and-so wherever you go. And part of that is because at any time there may be somebody in need of emergency medical care, and they can provide that emergency medical care. And so addressing them as Dr. So-and-so outside of the hospital or outside of work is appropriate. But with a PhD, and I work in the hospital, so if I'm there, I'm Dr. Jules. But I'm not gonna I wouldn't go to like a Make-A-Wish Foundation and be introduced as Dr. such and such as if I was a physician. Do you see what I mean? So these are this is being pretty a stickler for the rules. But you know how like with Joe Biden, his wife, Jill, she had I think she had an EDD, a doctorate of education. She was a teacher. Now she taught college. She's a smart lady. But those academic degrees are usually like 2 years on their content area. They don't provide services directly to the public. They're not really licensed. They're certified, but they're not really licensed. So calling her Dr. Jill was actually a misnomer. It wasn't properly used to the effect that you got a lot of people that still believe that she was a physician. And again, maybe it's just like little subtleties, and I don't usually care. I didn't care about Jill Biden, and it doesn't matter to me. But there's something about calling him Dr. Babe that just, it bothers me. It really bothers me. It's like, at least just call him Dr. Matthias. Can we just call him Dr. Matthias out of respect for the journey, right? So that's all. Okay. My husband has 2 PhDs, Motorola University, so he's not really an accredited PhD. You're not an accredited PhD. Your PhD would come from an accredited program. Again, I don't really want to get in deep on why that matters or what that means. In the case of a psychologist, someone who is providing direct services to the public, having your PhD from an accredited university, accredited program, that's a big part of being licensed for independent practice. So that's all that's about. Yeah, somebody said that he was on the jab, Zelda. Someone said that Dr. Matthias was on the jab. He's on the Zempic. He's on the Zempic. Nana Flower Power. Welcome. Good to see you. All right. Money for nothing and your clicks are for free. Right? So I don't know. Brittany J and Lauren Matthias, and they have gotten it down to a thought. Well, and Trisha has gotten the Grifton game down to a fine art. Megan wants in on the game. Megan is so hungry to be in the game for the free cash. Don't put her in a 9-year academic program. No, sirree. She wants it fast and she wants it now. So, yeah, I've been looking at this thing with Trisha, and her grift goes a long way back. It goes even back before Web Sleuths, when she was still her maiden name. She got a lot of people sued that lady. It is very, very interesting how you can have someone who has such a long history of accusations of illegal behavior, but they can trick the public into thinking that they are credible. But look at what Hitler accomplished. Didn't Hitler do that? Hitler convinced a nation that he was a genius. And he was just a gross little psychopathic failed painter. That's really all he was. All right. Hey, Jude. I can't sing because my throat's still messed up. So what should we talk about? We got all the information on the crime drama, and we got lots of information on true crime. So, I know what we could do. Here's something that I got together and I never actually presented it. So, why isn't it going up? Exit solo layout. Okay. Why aren't you showing? Okay, so it's there, but for some reason, if you wonder why this is kind of wonky, it's because I got a new computer. Brittany J, Trisha, I got a new computer and nobody bought it for me. That's right. As a big girl, I bought my own computer. I got a good one. I got a Lenovo OmniBook. It's a good one. All right, so let me quit acting silly for a minute and try and get me another profile up. Okay. So that's why I don't have what'd I do? Yeah, not what I want. That is so weird. Save. Okay. No, still won't do it. Okay, well, we can work with that, can't we? That'll work. What do y'all think? That okay? All right. Very good. Okay. So let's talk about this Nancy Guthrie thing. I want to be very, very specific to the ransom notes, because there has been perhaps a bit of confusion. Well, not confusion. I don't want to call it confusion. A little bit of disagreement on the ransom notes. Okay. So I want to talk about those if it's okay. Do y'all mind? If you want to talk about the specifics and inferences of the various ransom notes and what they mean to me, Dr. Jules, see how dumb that sounds? I put a 1 in the chat. If you would rather talk about trauma drama, put 2. Your subs didn't buy it. No, my subs didn't buy it. But her subs did. Her subs bought it, and they are being bilked to the tune of thousands of dollars, and I feel super sorry for them. But a lot of people left her channel, and they are with us today, and you guys are the smart ones. So thank you. Okay. So, hey, Hawkeye, good to see you. Welcome. All right. So most people want to, Martin Smallwood, welcome. Martin wants to talk about the subtleties of the ransom notes. Okay. So let's do that because I think that's interesting. The ransom notes are weird, okay? And it doesn't matter how you discuss it or what you take away from it. They're just weird. And there have been lots of professional investigators that have been online as talking heads who have said that there's something wrong with the ransom note. For one thing, the ransom notes provided no avenue of communication. Now, why is that a problem? Why is it a problem if you're a kidnapper and you have mapped out the perfect crime and you have been seen on a camera spreading flowers about? Why would you go through all that trouble but not allow the millionaires to communicate with you? That's number one. There's not a single ransom note, not one, provided an avenue of communication. So how are you going to get your money? Let's say Savannah Guthrie, millionaires, says, look, I'm not going to give them $6 million, but I'll give them $1 million if they'll just give me a map with X marks the spot for where I can find my mom, right? I'm happy to give $1 million for that, correct? Wouldn't you take it as the kidnapper? Would you take I would take 500. I would take 100,000. You know what I'm not going to do as a kidnapper? I'm not going to take time starting all the way back in January the previous year and plot and plan from Colorado Springs it's Grand Junction, Colorado. I'm not going to plan and plot, find myself on a camera on the front door. I am not going to do that without getting my money. You think about this. This is like baking a cake, you guys. This is like you bake a cake and you go through the list of all the delicious, delightful, innards that are going to be in your beautiful cake. And you carefully, mix it up and do everything it says to do. And then it says, put in the oven 375 for, 50 minutes. And you do. And you never turn your oven on. Would you do that? Would you do that? Would you take the time to mix everything up in your great little KitchenAid beast of a mixer and make the perfect cake and not turn the fire on? Would you, huh? No, of course not. The whole point of mixing everything up, the whole point of putting it in a pan is because you want the heat to turn it in from sludge to a beautiful cake, which is going to require the chemical reaction of heat. Correct, Hey Jude. So why are you going to take the chance that you're going to get seen taking an old lady out of her house, supposedly through the front door? You're going to take all this trouble. You're going to run the risk of being caught with an old lady in your car, but you're not going to think about how you're going to get your money? Like, you're not going to give that some thought? Like, gosh, how can they get me the money without me getting caught? No. Not only did they not think about it, they never asked, hey, well, unless you're to believe the communication directly to the daughter and Tommaso's phones. Hey, did you guys ever put your fingers on that Bitcoin? Huh? It's like, what? You, as the kidnapper, you don't give any avenue of collecting your money to the millionaires, but you're going to contact the teacher, and we know teachers don't make $1 million. You're going to send a direct message to the phone of the teachers and say, "Did you get my Bitcoin?" Nothing shady going on there, is it, Annie? Is it, Annie? So it's weird, right? The vegetative swipe on the camera was a Wiccan ritual for protection. I don't know, but something's rotten in Denmark, if you know what I mean. All right, now then. So we get these ransom notes, and look, so there was some confusion, okay? So she goes missing the night of the 31st. Well, the last time that Nancy Guthrie is seen is the night of the 31st, correct? She's reported missing on February the 1st, 11, 12 o'clock. There's a little bit of a discrepancy there, right? And I felt that it was several days before the ransom note was received. Let me say that. I was wrong. Ransom note was received 36 hours later. So it wasn't received on the 1st. It was received on the 2nd, but later in the evening, somewhere between 5 and 7 p.m., right? It went to, the first ransom note received went to a local station, KOLD, K-O-L-D, okay? It's the first one. So we, the public, are not told. We don't know about this ransom. Now, on the next day, the 3rd, TMZ supposedly receives a ransom note that was a duplicate of the one sent to KOLD. And people begin to sort of whisper, like maybe there's a TMZ leak saying, "Hey, guys, we got a ransom note. We called the cops. We turned it over to the FBI, but we got a ransom note." So their ransom note was 48 to, 52 hours later, right? All right. So still quite a long time, right? Because they alert law enforcement on the 1st around noon, a little bit before noon. They tell law enforcement, we've got our friend did show up. We usually get together, drink coffee, watch church together, because we like to watch the church in New York that Savannah goes to. All right. But for whatever reason, she didn't show up. Now, the original reporting by Sheriff Nanos, the most professional sheriff on the planet, he said that she didn't show up to church, that church members were worried about her. And then he said, "Oh, no. She logs in and watches church online." And then it was finally actually one of the little old ladies who said, "Wait a minute. She didn't go to church. It wasn't about her logging in online. She comes to my house to watch it as a group, and she didn't show up." So I don't know what's going on with Sheriff Nanos, but the man couldn't even get that little factoid correct in the initial reporting. Or did he know damn well what was right, and he was being a little bit, obstructive? Now then, the note, interestingly enough, instructs them, don't contact the police. Wait a minute. Don't contact the police? You took her in the middle of the night between the 31st and the 1st. By noon, 12 hours later, 10, maybe 6 or 8 hours later, the little old ladies that love Nancy call and say, "We're worried about our friend. She's not here. You better go and check. And Nancy and Tommaso are the first ones on the scene. Oops. Oh, she must have wandered away. The door was propped open. She wandered away. But Savannah Guthrie saying, my mom can't even walk down to the damn mailbox most of the time. Oh, but Annie says she must have walked away, right? Okay. So, why would a kidnapper take the chance of being seen on a camera when the back doors are wide open? They're wide open. There's no fear, worry, concern about being seen. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you be able to go in through the front door, do the dirty deed, but then you're going to go around to the front with a live camera and be seen waving flowers around? Doesn't make any sense, does it? But you know what else doesn't make sense? It makes absolutely zero sense that by noon, they're all running around looking for Nancy Guthrie out in the desert. The cops were wall to wall everything because Sheriff Nanos wants to be famous. And now he's got a famous woman's mother missing. So I'm sure his toes were curled with delight at his good fortune. And people are watching this on TV. People are watching it on TV. It's hitting the news. America's sweetheart, her mom has gone missing. Everybody's watching it. Cops everywhere. So what does this genius kidnapper do? He writes in a note that doesn't come in until 7 o'clock that night. Don't contact the police. What? Turn your TV on, professional kidnapper. What do you see? Oh, the entire police force, the entire sheriff's department. They're all looking for your girl. What a farce. Savannah, this is a clown show. Absolutely impossible. Do you see what I mean? Impossible. Oh, it was big news, Carolina. Everybody was talking about it. Savannah Guthrie is America's sweetheart. Oh my gosh. Sheriff Nanos was tickled to death to have a famous person that his name would be associated with. What a farce, right? So I call BS the first day that we, the public, are told that there are ransom notes is February the 5th. February the 5th. They had already released the crime scene. They were getting pizza delivered to Nancy Guthrie's house on the 5th. No one else finds this shockingly ironic. Your professional kidnappers wait 36 hours to send the first ransom note that gives no pathway for communication or payment, none, and does say, don't call the police, which was hilarious because the place was already crawling with cops. I'm going to ask you guys this. Does this seem like a real kidnapping to you? Like, what's your heart telling you? Is this real? Do you really think there was a kidnapping? Or are we looking at a ruse to convince us that there was a kidnapping? What do you guys think? Is it actually a kidnapping, or was it all a psyop, a trick to tell us we should believe this, or maybe it was to convince law enforcement that it was a kidnapping. It seems to have worked. You've got Nancy Guthrie's blood all over the front landing out onto the sidewalk. And this bozo head releases the crime scene. It's incredible. It's incredible. We now know today, we now know the man that was put in charge, the lead detective on this disappearance, assigned by Sheriff Nanos, had never, not once, ever worked a homicide investigation. Not once. He had never worked it. Not that he never led one. He never worked with a homicide. I don't know, Sheriff Nanos. I'm beginning to think you might know where Nancy Guthrie is, because your behavior, among all else, is sus as hell. And why did you send DNA off to this private little lab in Florida when Quantico sets the world standard for kidnappings? Why wouldn't you embrace the FBI? This is what they do, Sheriff Nanos. I mean, this is some weird history. And if you, at the very least, if you acknowledge that it's very strange history, it surely will open up to the wildest of speculations. You know what I mean? So I think Sheriff Nanos should be forced to answer for his decisions in this situation. So we have the official narrative is that this was a kidnapping for ransom. However, we didn't know, or let me say it this way, law enforcement didn't know that this was a kidnapping for ransom until like 36 hours after she was reported missing, and didn't tell the public until the 5th that he's told there are ransom notes. Listen to this. Oh my God. He's told there are ransom notes, and he responds by releasing the crime scene. Wrap your head around that. Why would a sheriff do that? A sheriff who will brag about having how many years of experience on the job? Why do you get you start receiving messaging 36 hours after she goes missing? I'm making a video. Don't talk. You hear me? I'm making a video. Okay. Why in the world would this sheriff? Oh, my dogs are going to be barking because my husband just came in from work. Sorry, y'all. Okay. So if you check like the AI, they have all but erased the reality that the crime scene was released on the 3rd. They've erased that out of the information. Now when you put when was the crime scene officially released back to the family, it says late February the 26th to 28th, a good 3 weeks after she went missing. Lies. You're Your administration is built on a kingdom of lies, Sheriff Nanos. You would be so wrong, sir. You released that crime scene 2 days after they started looking for her. You guys treated it like this was an old lady that wandered off into the desert with dementia. And Savannah Guthrie made it very clear that her mother's brain was sharp as a tack. There was no dementia, but physically, she would not have been able to walk away. You want one of the negatives that makes me not fear AI in terms of taking over jobs? This kind of crap right here. Get on your whatever AI you use, look it up, see if it's telling you that the home was released in the between February 26th and 28th. Wrong. The house was originally released like on the 3rd. I think it was the morning of the 3rd. And then everybody raised holy hell, and they then took it back over, posted a sheriff's deputy there, and then processed the blood and everything. It was a disaster, to say the least. But think about this, y'all. Ask yourself, this sheriff has awareness, right? He has theory of mind. He's aware. She goes missing. First ransom note comes in the evening of February the 2nd to KOLD, demanding $4 million in Bitcoin, and they wanted their money by February the 5th. What did this sheriff do? Release the crime scene. You released the crime scene? You've got ransom notes demanding $4 million in Bitcoin, and you release the crime scene. Think about it, guys. Is this okay? So it was a little confusing too. The ransom note was a bit confusing. It's saying, if you'll pay us by 5 p.m. on February the 5th, then you can pay us $4 million, right? And that was for Nancy's safe return, not just information, but her safe return. But if you don't get it paid by 5 p.m. on February the 5th, we'll give you a second deadline of February the 9th, 5 p.m., but you're going to have to pay us $6 million. They said Nancy is safe and scared, but they failed to give proof of life. Now, look, law enforcement apparently coaches everyone that you don't pay a ransom without a proof of life. You just don't do it. It hopefully that keeps your loved one safe and alive, right? They clearly were never given proof of life. Because $1 million for Savannah Guthrie is a drop in the bucket. She never would even miss it, right? She wouldn't even miss that money. So why wouldn't she pay it? Because they refuse, in my opinion, they refused to get proof of life. But in the first one, they said she's safe, but she is scared. They did, make comments about broken floodlight. They talked about Nancy's Apple Watch and where it would be found. Oh, okay. So our non-professional kidnapper knew where Nancy's Apple Watch was. So it's someone who knows Nancy, isn't it? It's someone who knows Nancy, who doesn't give proof of life, who does not provide contact information for communication. Is it a real kidnapping? And why does the sheriff respond to the awareness of the ransom notes? Why does he respond by releasing the crime scene? Why? Now, the notes had perfect grammar. They had perfect grammar. There was a great deal in the note to suggest that this person was very familiar with Tucson, someone that knew her. So when KOLD received this first note, they immediately sent it to the FBI. And the sheriff responded by releasing the home. No guards. The house was unwatched. The area was crawling with YouTubeists and professional media people, and they did not post a single person to just even watch over the contents of the home. It's wild. The timeline is crazy. Now, on February the 3rd, TMZ gets the identical note to what KOLD got, this time outlining certain things, and they reiterate the same tired information about the broken floodlight and the Apple Watch. There is no proof of life provided. There is no contact method for the family or authorities. It defies logic. The professional investigators, the detectives that I've seen online are baffled. They said this is not a kidnapping. This isn't a kidnapping. This is something else that we are being convinced it is a kidnapping. It is not a kidnapping. All right. So the guy that was put in charge of investigating, running the investigation, never worked a homicide investigation in his life. Never. In response to the ransom note, they release the home. When they released the home, people began to approach the front porch, knock on the door. Now they've completely destroyed any evidentiary value of the flowers laying on top of the blood drops that have been eloquently placed to give the impression that something happened right before the door, going out onto the porch, leading down the sidewalk. It's a hoax. It's a psyop. It's a created scene, and we're being convinced to believe that it's kidnapping. There's more notes that are sent. They're sort of disregarded for various reasons. I personally find the communication, the direct message to Annie Guthrie's phone, I think that's incredibly interesting. I think when you have some dude in California sending a message to Tommaso and Annie saying, hey guys, did you get your hands on that Bitcoin yet? I don't know how you as a professional investigator turn your back on that information, actually. I think there is a dark and sinister message in that. So on March the 26th, Savannah Guthrie made her first appearance on Today's Show. She did an interview, correct? Look, lots of problems with that interview. Maybe one day I'll talk about it. I'm not sure. I can't make up my mind if I want to do it. But her exact quote was, I tend to believe the two notes the family received and responded to are real, but she never paid the $1 million because they didn't get proof of life, in my opinion. And then on April the 6th, we, out of nowhere, out of the blue, there's another note And that also happens to be the same day that she goes back to work. So lots of eyes on Savannah that day, right? Lots of people watching Savannah on that day. What a great day. What a great day to send more messaging in your effort to convince someone to believe that there was a kidnapping. Yep. What do you guys think about realistically? Do you remember the night that all the law enforcement showed up over at Annie and Tommaso's house, and they were in the garage for a couple of hours in the dark, flashes of light? Remember that? What about in the rest of the house? They were there for more than like 4 hours or so. Do you know that there's television footage, like news footage, where the detectives were leaving the house and they were carrying little brown bags? What are the brown bags for? What do they do with the brown bags? Hey, Doris Martin, good to see you. Hey, hey, hey. Brown bags are for what? Evidence collecting, right? Evidence collection. What kind of evidence could they be collecting from Annie and Tommaso's house? What? Granny came over to play games and eat dinner? Why do you need evidence for that exactly? And did you make Granny eat her dinner in the garage? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't believe that this story is finished. I don't think we're going to like fade away into obscurity with the story. I don't think it's going to do that. I think this is exactly like Barrymore Few. I think the whole time that he's been free, they were investigating. They were putting their case together. They were getting the evidence in order. They were tying up all their loose ends, because the minute that you arrest them, they have the right to a fast trial, and you don't want them pulling games trying to force your hand. I need a trial within 4 weeks. You better be ready to go with your prosecution if they try that little trick. So just think about these facts on your own, that you have kidnappers who go in search of a camera. That kidnapper wanted to be seen. If you agree with me, put a 1. If you agree the kidnapper wanted to be on camera, put a 1. I expect it, Zelda. I know what I'm expecting. Yeah. Oh, look at it. Hey, Kelly. Yeah, look at it. I'm telling you, it's coming. It is coming. They may have good grammar, but they have a lame Oh my God, Sketty Nona. They have a lame story. Their ransom notes were lame. And they assigned a lame investigator. I don't mean lame that he was no good. I mean he was inexperienced. He was just inexperienced, right? Why? Can we stop and think about this? This sheriff, he actually applied to a reality TV show to have his sheriff's department be featured on this reality show. He wants fame. Okay, so God gives him a gift. Look, we're going to take America's sweetheart, her mom, and we're going to disappear her in the middle of the dark night, and you get to be the investigator. This should have been right up his alley. He should have been tickled to death, excited. He should have been on pins and needles there every step of the way for every moment of the investigation. But what did he do? He went to a basketball game after choosing his lead detective, which was an inexperienced guy who had never worked a homicide investigation ever. And then he went to a basketball game. Can we be fair? Sheriff Nanos, not a basketball player. There's clues that lead me to that belief, okay? One of them is Lord Farquaad doesn't typically, go for a layup, if you know what I mean. He's very short. And that's okay. Short people I'm short, okay? I'm a shorty, okay? Not picking on you, Sheriff Nanos. Not for that anyway. But I'm a shorty. I'm not playing for the WNBA, all right? So why is he going to the basketball game? To seem uninvolved, uninterested, right? It's just an investigation like any other. Or was it? Was it really? Because you assigned a guy who's never worked a homicide investigation, who received ransom notes, and within 12 hours of receiving the ransom note, releases the house to the public and doesn't post a single caretaker to the property, who allows pizza delivery to come up into the yard, who allows Brian Enton and JLR to walk up in the midst of the blood, knocking on the door. Sheriff Nanos, do you think we are stupid? We are the true crime community. We are people that are activated by mystery. Your behaviors, your decisions make no sense, sir. None. You intentionally destroyed that evidence. Intentionally, in my opinion. All right. It's a bad. When you really stop and compare what Sheriff Nanos did in the front of the camera and what was happening behind the camera that we were not aware of at the time, it is very difficult to come up with any other explanation. Someone give me one. Martin Smallwood, you're a very rational, logical person, right? Explain that to me. Lady goes missing sometime middle of the night. By 11 o'clock, her friends are reaching out saying she didn't show up for our coffee and church morning. Cops are there within 2 hours. And then within 24 hours, they're getting ready to release the scene back. You're getting ransom notes that following day. You're getting ransom notes. People are saying, we've got her. You've got Savannah Guthrie and her brother saying, my mom was sharp as a tack. She didn't have a bit of dementia. And there ain't no way that she walked outside into the desert because she can't walk. They release the house. And then knowing that they have ransom notes, they release the house. Why do I have no audio? All right. Well, Hawkeye can hear me still. If you can hear me, put a 1. All right. Something rotten in Denmark. You know what I mean? There's a real problem here. Oh, thank you, Hawkeye. There's a real problem here with this. This makes no sense. Hey, Elizabeth W., good to see you. Thank you. Hey, just another human. Welcome. Tennessee, good to see you, my friend. So this is quite an interesting story. Not just the sadness of what happened to Nancy, which is terrible. It's tragic. And here's my worry. I will tell you my worry. My worry is that Savannah Guthrie, look, she's not a dumb lady. She's brilliant. Okay. She's smart. Her brother is very smart. These are part of the 2.3% in the IQ scores, right? They're brilliant people. If me and you can look at this and figure out something's wrong with the decision making of the sheriff, right? Don't you think that Savannah can? Don't you think Savannah's looking at this and going, "This bullshit"? All right, yeah, this is bullshit. This is not. No, I mean, I don't know what happened to my mom, but I don't believe what they're saying. Like, I don't know why they released the house. I don't know why there's people going up onto my mom's property trying to deliver pizza, knocking on the door. Her blood is still there. We've ruined the evidence of the flowers being on top of the blood. The back doors are propped open. No, my sister is not telling the truth. Are you, Annie? The truth has not been told. Not yet. But mark my words, in no uncertain terms, the story will get told. I believe that in my heart. I believe that. I think for one thing, here's one factor. I think that Savannah and her husband are very well off, right? And he has contact with the most powerful people in the country, probably the world, actually. They have hired the very best private investigators. What do you want to bet? What do you want to bet? What do you want to bet that Arizona and northern Mexico, New Mexico, what do you want to bet it is crawling with Savannah Guthrie investigators? What do you want to bet? If it was my mom, it would be. If it was somebody that I loved, somebody that I cared about, I would be spending my money to hire professional detectives to go and work as private investigators and figure out what the hell happened to my mom and what in the hell made this wonky sheriff make these very, very, very tragic decisions. They have the contacts. Her husband, they got the contacts, they got the money to fund it. They're on it. I guarantee you. I find it super interesting that they are in the process of recalling him, forcing him out. Why is that? Did somebody say, "Oh man, we're not going to be able to arrest a sitting sheriff"? Right? You know what today is? Wild speculation. Wild speculation today. Did the sheriff follow protocols in the case? If not, what about other cases? Did he follow protocol? There's a reason why he didn't protect the crime scene. Yes, sir, Martin. Yes, sir. You are right. The Wookiee agrees. All right. Her husband works for the White House. He did. He did work for the Clinton administration. I think Savannah is Savannah. Look at me getting all fancy. Savannah. I think Savannah is playing along to get along right now. That's my hope, Elizabeth. I do know beyond a shadow of a doubt, she and her brother both, just by way of their professions, their level of accomplishment, there's no doubt their IQ is very high, right? So my hope is that they are doing what they have been instructed to do, whether it's by the FBI or their own private investigators, that they are doing what they have been instructed to do, and it won't come as a horrible shock when it all plays out. That's my concern. I can't think of anything more difficult than your mom is gone, elderly mom is gone. You have no idea where she went. The investigation is just horribly destroyed, messed up. And then you find out maybe it was all a ruse to get money, and there was an accidental death, and the kidnapping was devised to stop law enforcement from thinking about you doing it. Nana couldn't find a hair, even if it was Chewbacca. I love Chewbacca. Okay. Seriously, I feel really bad for her. I can't imagine it. I'd be going crazy. Same, Carolina. It's horrible thoughts about how it might have been done. I think the whole story is just wrong. But when I consider this story, this made-up story, this is my made-up story, speculation, wild speculation. There was a need for money, and a plan was devised to give the appearance to get money for her return, and she died accidentally. And so the dressed up kidnapper going up onto the porch, the blood, all of it staged for one purpose. This is a kidnapping by strangers. Do not look at us. Yep, that is what I think it is. I would agree that theory. A crime went wrong. Martin, in the beginning, I was thinking it was a trick, right, to get money. Then I got to thinking, what if it's even more nefarious than that? And I'm just thinking, I don't say that I actually believe that. There's one thing I believe. Ain't no way in hell that was a real kidnapper. No way in hell this was a real kidnapping. We are being convinced. The notes that came on the day that Savannah went back to work, one reason for that, many, many eyes on Savannah. The world was watching Savannah that morning when she went back to work, right? So what better way to convince even more people that it was a kidnapping by strangers? We better send another ransom note for them to read out. Why would you wait till the day she goes back? You can send her, if what you're after is $1 million, you can get that the day before work, the day after work. Why'd you choose that day? Because it was never about collecting money. It was about convincing a nation that it was a kidnapping. He wanted to be seen. He wanted that video, the scary masked dude, right? He wanted that shown again. Tell the nation it's a kidnapping. It's a kidnapping. Don't think anything else. Don't think anything else. It was a kidnapping. It was never a family argument that went wrong. Never. It was never about Nancy Guthrie getting angry because someone in the family was squandering her money. It was never about that. Where did all my money go? Who's been spending the money out of my bank account? I'm going to reach out to Savannah so I can find out which one of you has been taking my money. See what I mean? And there was an accident, which often happens with arguments and fighting. And once the dirty deed occurred, somebody said, kidnapping. We could make them think that it's a kidnapping. We'll bury her respectfully in the desert. We'll do a little ceremony. We'll say some prayers. And then we'll convince the nation that she was kidnapped. The cops won't even look at it. The cops will feel sorry for us. And maybe we can even make some money if we write a book about it. Yeah, that's a great idea. We got to get you dressed up, make you look like a man, make you go up there and I better get this and do a little Wiccan little spell to keep me safe as I act out this insanity. Telling you, off topic, but Trisha tried to pull off the same hoax. Porch guy. How stupid was that? She's so stupid. I don't even want to think about her. I don't want to think. I'll think about her tomorrow, like Scarlett O'Hara. Red. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, or the woman, right? All of the above, perhaps. Yeah. If it was a family member, why not just ask for money? Maybe she had enough of forking out the cash to the less successful children. I mean, plenty of families deal with this problem. Plenty of families deal with the problem that most of the children get good jobs, educated, and they're taking care of their own lives and they're taking care of their own children, and they're not taking money from their 80-year-old mommy. And then there'll be that one brother or sister, right? You got that one brother or sister. They still drink and party like they did when they were 18 years old. They lie all the time. They take mom's credit card to buy $3,000 worth of stuff on Amazon. Right? It happens in families all the time. All the time. And the moms or the dads that are getting basically robbed blind by their no good kid. Oh, I just feel sorry for him. He just didn't get the breaks that everybody else got. No, bullshit. He got the same breaks. He made bad decisions. That's all, right? So those things are common in families. It's not unusual. I have one friend who her dad was very wealthy, so just hard work, just living a good life, making good investments and stuff. And her mom, my friend's mom, was the daughter of this wealthy man, and there was a brother, and the brother was robbing them blind. The brother was robbing his own mother and father, who were very old, like 90 years old, robbing them blind. And somebody stepped in and said, no more. No, you're done. Finish. You're not going to steal any more money from them. But some of the parents are just like, well, I feel sorry for him. He just didn't have the same luck you did, which isn't true, right? We don't lie. We're not getting lucky. We're just making choices and decisions and how we're going to work or not work. And that's what we do in life. Sometimes we make good choices. Sometimes we make bad choices. And, maybe it was just one of those circumstances where she had just had enough of her money going to pay for these adults. Like I want to be fair here. Like, I look at Brittany J. Brittany is on that internet every night. She is doing videos, like she's talking to her people every day. She never misses a day, right? What does her husband do? You have a baby registry and you choose to put a man's robe on the baby. I'm just, ugh, gross, Brittany. Why would you do that? Why doesn't he go get a job? Really, it's very curious. I mean, he talks a big game. He acts like, oh, I got $30,000. I got a lot of money. I can go hire me an attorney for $30,000. You ain't going to get a very good attorney. So, all right. Nancy could have succumbed to shock. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what I find interesting, Martin, as we engage in wild speculation? Why would anyone, good or bad, why would you send your 80-something-year-old mom in an Uber to your house, which is just a few miles away, right? When she has a car. So why wouldn't she drive her own car? Or you have a teenage son. Couldn't you just say, hey, you need to go pick up Granny? Or why wouldn't I just go up, keep an eye on the oven? I got to run and go get Granny. It's just literally 2 or 3 miles from her house. Why are you sending an Uber? Do you see my point? But then you think about it. What if she uncovered something? What if she looked at a shared account and all the money was gone out of it? What if she'd had enough? She was pissed. I've had it with them. I'm sick of it. This is the last straw. I'm not funding any more for them. Maybe she was pissed off when she called the Uber. Maybe she was angry and that she asked the Uber to take her over to her daughter's house without them knowing she was coming. Maybe this whole story of dinner and a movie was part of the ruse, that never happened, that Nancy uncovered what amounted to theft, and she went over for a confrontation. Right? Yeah. To have an 85-year-old woman being treated like the family ATM, trust me, guys, I know all about that. It's sickening. And yet, you got 40-something, 50-something, 60-year-old men perfectly happy to steal from their old moms, like they're entitled to it. The Uber doesn't bother me. She couldn't drive after dark and they were busy cooking. Yeah, no, look, yes, with everything that you said, yes, there could be explanations. Yes. I just find it odd. I think the Uber a couple of miles away, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit with the story. Oh, but it's very convenient, but it doesn't really fit with the story. So I don't know. Here's what we don't know. And to be fair, law enforcement has no obligation to tell us, right? That we're just the general public. But we don't know that there was dinner and games. We don't know if that's real. We don't know if that's true. And we don't know. It seems to me pulling into the garage and then pulling out, getting her into the house, they didn't have nearly enough time to do all that. That seems really strange to me. It makes no sense to me that the kidnapper goes to the front door to be on the camera when the back doors are standing wide open. Why would you do that? You know damn well a kidnapper, even if they've cased the joint, they're still going to look through windows and say, well, is she sleeping? Is she accidentally awake in the middle of the night, maybe having trouble sleeping? Does she have somebody staying over with her? Maybe they hired a sitter. No, you would look in the window. You'd make sure that everything was like you expected it to be before you made your move. So don't tell me the kidnapper didn't know the doors were open. He knew. He had to be on camera. Because if he's not on camera, then how do you get the narrative started? See the problem? But that appearance of the guy, the ski mask, carrying the gun like he's carrying it, that was all designed for impact, for fear. That's what I believe. Yeah, Nana, the level of absurdity is it's ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Yeah. She wanted to show up on her own, or they wanted to have a witness seeing her. Ooh, skedinona. Right? Yep. That angry, unannounced visit. What is this? Who took my money? I told you I'm not giving you any more. Mm-hmm. Were they playing Clue? I don't know. They're probably playing Monopoly. All right. Okay. So, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. And I recognize there's a lot of people that think it's horrible to talk about what could have happened, not what did happen. We don't have any way of knowing. We are not the investigators. But remember, when I started this whole thing, remember what I said. You've got a missing person, and then the next day you're getting ransom notes, and so the sheriff responds by putting someone in charge who has no kind of experience in a homicide investigation. And then he keeps FBI away. And then he releases the crime scene after getting the ransom notes. That dog don't hunt. All right. Look, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. And I'm sorry that I go missing for long moments at a time. I will ask, do we know what's the next court date, Martin Smallwood, for Old Barry? Yeah, I don't know, Carolina, but I think the virtue signalers who want to say you're horrible to think about this isn't the way it happened, etc. I'd really like for them to answer that question. What do you think about the sheriff releasing the crime scene after getting the ransom notes? What do you think about the sheriff assigning the lead detective someone who had never, ever processed a homicide investigation? What do you think? Is it like May the 9th, Martin? I was thinking it was like May the 9th. No, it can't be the 9th. That's a Saturday. Maybe it was the 7th, maybe. Watts and NK were confused about what medication they needed. Oxytocin. It causes the uterus to contract. Lots of women take opioids. It doesn't bother the breathing process. We only know they've told us all that happened. They could be lying. No, 100%, Carolina. But let me ask you this. Do you really believe the sheriff is going to ask for a polygraph when his lead detective has never conducted an investigation into a homicide? A sheriff who receives ransom notes that Savannah Guthrie is told is real, is legitimate, and he responds by releasing the crime scene, even with blood everywhere. Think about that. This sheriff is up to no good, people. And I think that's why they're trying to remove him, because I think they don't want to think about life after arresting a sitting sheriff. I know. That's one of those comments going to get me in trouble. Y'all won't let them be mean to me, right? Yeah, don't let them be mean to me. I think when I come back, I think we'll talk about Megan, about her last video that she did. It was pretty bad. So I think we'll talk about that the next time. All right. How about a happy song to say bye? Y'all have a good afternoon. I'm here hanging out with you. Appreciate it. Oh, started off with the wrong one. Here we go.
Woke up at dawn with the pelicans in flight. Coffee brewing strong by dawn's early light. Waves whisper secrets to my open heart. The life around this water gets me off to a great start. Parrots wild, squawking loud in the old palm tree. Dolphin smiles, brighter than the Texas sun on me. We chase simple dreams, nothing fancy or grand, just honest days in this promised land. God gives rainbow horizons to those in this happy lane. Diamonds dancing on the waves, back sparkling again.
Bye, y'all.
Honest living, a pursuit of peace, family ties and the happiness we seek. Love, forgotten country running deep in our veins. Through the storms and the trials we break those chains. Good living brings the blessings we see. The rainbow horizons calling to me. Living each moment, giving truth from the heart. No deceptions woven, no false starts. It goes like a front porch swaying in the ocean breeze. Watching the sunset fade away with pink and blue ease. Teach the young ones right from wrong with care. Hold them close when the world's unfair. In this Gulf Coast life, we find our way, building memories that never stray. Oh, rainbow horizons after the rain. Diamonds dancing on the waves back again. Honest living in pursuit of peace. Family ties and the happiness we see. Love, forgotten country running deep in our veins. Through the storms and the trials we break those chains. Good living brings the blessings we see. Rainbow horizons calling to me. When the night falls quiet and stars shine bright, I thank the Lord for this humble light, for the flag that waves and the grace from above, filling our hearts with endless love. No riches compare to the peace we found in the tides we ride.